What's up, guys? My name is Staff Sergeant County. I am the Marine Corps extraordinaire based out here in Fairview Heights, Illinois. I'm here today just to give you guys a brief background or introduction of myself and welcome you to the channel for one. This is my very first video on this YouTube channel, Marine County. I basically started the channel just to get more information out to a wider range of people. And I'm a Marine Corps recruiter right now, and I'll be a recruiter for the next 3 years. And I speak to high school students, college students, graduates, things of that nature about what some of their options are with the Marine Corps. But I thought, hey, there's so much information I'm getting about the Marine Corps. It doesn't have to just be for those guys. It could be for Marines. It could be for people who are in other services, retired Marines. So overall, this is just the channel that I'm going to use to share all of the information, tips and tricks, guidelines, answer any questions you may have, or anything that has to do about the Marine Corps. So, little background on myself. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I was born and raised there. I lived there all the way up to my 6th grade year, and then Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005. Then my whole family moved a couple of times. We went to Houston, Texas. We came back to Lutcher, Louisiana, moved to LaPlace, Louisiana, and then went to Atlanta, Georgia for a good 5 years. In school, generally, I was a pretty good student. I was honor roll, A's and B's. My B's were usually in classes like science and history. But overall, I did really well in school. My mom was really proud of that. She expected me to go to college, do great things, all this other stuff. And it wasn't until my high school year that I got exposed to the military. And I mean, not from movies and not from my friends or from family members or, video games. I was really big on Call of Duty, and still am. But anyways, in high school, one of my very first classes was JROTC. That's if you guys don't know, it's a military class thing. So I was part of the JROTC program at Pebblebrook High School. It was Army JROTC, and that was my first introduction to military, what the military is all about. And I'm gonna be honest with you, at first I thought the military is just Army. I didn't know any other branch. I didn't know what the Marine Corps was. I didn't know nothing about Air Force, Navy, nothing, you know what I mean? And even my great-grandfathers who were drafted, they were in the Army, so I didn't really have any other idea of all the other branches. And in high school, 9th grade year, I'm starting JROTC. I wasn't really invested in the program. It wasn't until my sophomore year where I really started liking it, because I met some awesome people, and we had camaraderie between us and a lot of team building, and I never played on a sport before, so I got really into that. I wanted to be a part of something. And I joined the drill team. I joined the ranger team, and we didn't have a rifle team, sadly. But my junior year, I was really good, and I was able to join the color guard team, which was the prestigious guys. They were doing some hardcore stuff. It was a really good experience overall, and it kind of got me into the military. That was my introduction, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to join the military, because I really like what all of this stands for, I mean, yeah, the serving your country, fighting for your country, being there for your brothers and sisters to the left and the right of you. I was like, yeah, I like that stuff, but on the other side of that, the benefits, the ability to go to school, go to college, and not have to pay for it. My family was coming up off nothing, you know what I mean? We didn't have money to be throwing it, slinging it at college tuitions for 4 different kids, so I knew I was on my own after high school. I had to come up with a plan, and I felt I really liked the military, but I also liked the fact that I could go to school in the military, and I can travel, and I can get some job experience, and I can do things other than go to school for 4 more years. I was not about it. Yes, I was good at school, but I was not about it. All right. I was just nah, I just did 4 years of school. I'm not trying to go back to 4 years of harder school, After figuring out what I wanted to do in my career was military, yes. Then it was just what branch? So the first choice was the Army, and that was just because I was more familiar with it, and they were everywhere. There was Army billboards, Army recruiters, Army veterans, just Army, Army, Army. It's everywhere because they're huge, they're huge. They gotta be everywhere. But when I hit my junior year of high school, that's when I started talking to all of the recruiters. I was being open-minded, and then I spoke to the Marine recruiter. The Marine recruiter was last, that was the last person I spoke to, and then it was a female. And then when I walked up to her and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about joining the military, and she's like, why? What do you want to do? That just shocked me. I was stunned, you know, because I went to speak to the Army recruiter, I went to speak to the Navy recruiter, and they were all like, yeah, if you join the military, we're gonna help you with school, you're gonna get all these good jobs. And it was like they were trying to get me, you know. But the Marine recruiter, she was just like, why? And I was like, you don't want my business? You know, like it was a change. And then I started getting into the real reasons why I wanted to join the military. Lo and behold, I got more interested in the Marine Corps. I started looking up on it, and around that same time, I got in a relationship, first boyfriend ever. His dad was a Marine, and his dad used to always talk about that stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he was so proud of the fact that he was a Marine, you know. I want to tell those stories to my kids someday, you know. And then, of course, with the good, there came some bad. You know, there came the rumors like the Marines are dumb. People only join the Marine Corps because they would like to shoot, and they're not smart enough to get a better job, and they don't want to go to college because they failed out of all this other stuff. And it was just like, ouch, I don't want to be associated with something like that, you know? Overall, I just didn't let people make that decision for me. I made the decision based on what I wanted to do. And regardless of what branch I'm joining, I know I'm going to be taken care of, regardless. It doesn't matter. So when it comes to choosing, like, it has to be something that's, like, within you. And that was something that was within me. So I chose to be a Marine at 16 years old. My senior year, my family ended up moving back to New Orleans, Louisiana, and I still knew what I wanted to do with my future. And my mom was like, no, you're not. Nope, 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 nope. So we moved back to New Orleans. First thing I did was called up a Marine recruiter, and I was like, yeah, I want to join. It was a guy this time, and he was asking me all these questions, you know, just to make sure I was qualified. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I ended up taking my sister because I knew my mom wasn't gonna want to go. Like, that was not gonna happen. So my sister, she was in college. She was actually with the Army ROTC program, you know, so she was going through that. And she took me to the recruiting office, and I went and took the test. I got a 74, blew it out of the park. It was just a practice test, but I did really well. And I sat down with the Marine recruiter, and then he was talking to me about what the Marine Corps offers. And wait, let's just pause real quick. The biggest thing that I noticed is when I went to talk to the Marine recruiter, like, they didn't try to tell me anything that would make me want to join. Like, I never felt like they were saying something that sounded too good to be true. All I heard was, this is hard, you got to go through this, you got to do this, and if you want that, you got to get this. And it was goals. It was like stepping stones. Like, I have to meet this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do this. And it was just like, it gave me a purpose. It gave me something to do. I ended up, you know, committing with the Marine Corps. And the next step was getting my mom to commit as well. My dad was already on board. Like, he wants me to do whatever I want to do. So thanks, Dad. My mom didn't want to speak to the recruiter, so I ended up getting the recruiter to pop over at the house without her knowing. And then he talked to her there, and then boom, I wasn't listening to the Marine Corps. At that point, I was just a pulley. And my whole senior year, I was on the dance team. I was on the Scholastic Excellence team. You know, we did a lot of debates, and we took tests and all this other stuff. And we did really well. And I ended up graduating school. Actually, I ended up graduating high school earlier than the rest of my class to go to boot camp. So I had enough credits, and my recruiter talked to my counselor, and they were like, she's good, she can leave. And then I was like, okay, bet. And I got out of school and ended up going to boot camp in April instead of waiting till like June. So went to United States Marine Corps boot camp. My family met me there when I graduated, and that was me walking across the stage with that Marine Corps uniform, being a badass, because I knew I could do it, and I did it. So after that, I went to combat training, Marine combat training, because we're all combat trained. After that, I went to my job school, which was supply administration specialist. At that point, I was second in the class. And I was only beaten by this one guy who was a reservist, and he was already in the Marine Corps for a year. So he was lucky because he was able to do the job before the school. I would have been first in the class. But anyways, so yeah, I was second in the class, and I got to pick which coast, and I picked East Coast. So I ended up going to Cherry Point, North Carolina. So I was there for a good 3 years. I was deployed on the Marine Expeditionary Unit with the Navy. We went to like 3 different countries. We were mainly in Okinawa, Japan. I was at my 3-year mark in the Marine Corps, and then I was kind of debating whether I wanted to stay in or get out. And I decided to re-enlist again. I was like, I like it, let's keep going, you know what I mean? And then when I re-enlisted, I actually requested to go back to Okinawa, Japan because I loved it so much. So I was there for 2 years. I had a blast. I went to 5 different countries in 2 weeks on my vacation time. So I did whatever I wanted. Like, it was awesome. I got to eat a lot of Japanese food, meet a lot of Japanese people, go to all of their beaches, their waterfalls, all of their historic sites. For 2 years, it was a blast. I really loved it out there. While I was out there, I ended up getting what we call HISted, meaning you're selected to go do a special duty in the Marine Corps. And there were 3 special duties that I could have done, which was drill instructor, embassy duty, and recruiting duty. And whew, I ended up being a recruiter. So I went to recruiting school in San Diego, California. And afterwards, I graduated recruiting school. And then I got stationed here, where I am now, baby. Anyways, long story short, I wouldn't be in this position right now if I wasn't just like a sponge, if I didn't soak up as much information as possible. And that's not to say speaking to a recruiter made me join. It was more of I was open-minded to all of my options. You know, I knew I would have had a good shot at college based on my grades, or I would have been taken well care of in the Army as well, but I always kept my options open, and I ended up doing something I never thought I would have been doing, and I actually love it. You know, it's not for everyone, I'm gonna be honest, but it doesn't hurt to get that information before making that first judgment. Like, coming from New Orleans, Louisiana, a very, very, very poor town, at very, very, very poor school systems, like in a poor family, in a poor house, like I'm really living it up right now. Now I have so many options and opportunities to become successful. I'm in school right now. I already have my associate's degree. I'm going for my bachelor's, and I have like at least 4 or 5 years of experience in my trade, which can be translated into retail or finance. And I've been around the world. I've been to at least 5 different countries. Like, I've really lived a lot, and I've only been in the Marine Corps for 7 years. That's just me. That's my background. With that being said, there's a lot of information I obviously left out because I didn't want to go in detail on everything. So the more questions you guys send me, the more videos I will post answering those. I'm also going to be posting like tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way just to help you guys, whether you're in the military, not in the military, interested, not interested, doesn't matter. It's just information. So why not get it? And it's free. Other than that, guys, like, do me a huge favor. If you're looking forward to seeing more videos like this, like, and then I'll subscribe, and then follow me on all of my other social media platforms. I have Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, everything, and join the Corps.